Unflow, On the Rag, Crimson Wave, Red Robot, Periods, Menstruation. I might have made you uncomfortable by mentioning periods, but it comes once a month for most people. Once a month. This is a normal thing and a natural thing and a common thing, and it should be discussed as such. Without this everyday frank discussion, menstruators' health issues will continue to be swept under the rug because everyone feels too awkward to talk about them. But thankfully, with the help of Bwise, we are launching videos once a week where I'll be tackling and confronting periods and contraceptives, periods and taboos, and most importantly, in this video, tackling why periods matter. We're just gonna go with the flow. So did you know that approximately 50% of the world gets their period every month? Your mom has had her period. Your sister has had her period. Your girlfriend has had a period. And like clockwork, menstruators get their period every 21 to 35 days. The average age that a girl gets her first period is 12 years old. It can also be as early as 8 years old. And they continue to have their period until they reach menopause around the age of 51. Now that is an average of 37 years of menstruating once a month. If it happens to approximately 50% of the population, then why is it still so weird to talk about? Why is there still a stigma of disgust or shame attached to this natural and common bodily function? So in this video, I asked my menstrual community on their views on why periods matter. I'm going to unpack all the interesting answers so that we can finally get rid of this awkwardness that surrounds periods. You ready? Let's go. Alright, fellow menstruators, I am now reading your responses as to why you believe periods matter. And one response here I have is, as women, it's a way for your uterus to be cleansed monthly, which is technically and scientifically and biologically true because our uterine is shedding the lining during our process of our periods. But do you know that your vagina is a self-cleansing machine? So irrespective of whether it is menstruating or not, you will always be clean down there. So just so you know that your vagina is doing the most. In response here that I really love that says, our periods matter because it's not choice. It's the nature of our autonomy and therefore should matter. And I totally agree. We did not decide to wake up one day and say, hey, I want to menstruate. It is a common and bodily function, and we should just understand that because it is nature, we should respect it as such, and we should not see it in a negative light. You heard? Majority of the world's population experience periods, so that's why periods should matter. And just a side note, I think a lot of people assume that it's only girls and women that menstruate, but I just want to make a public service announcement as your Minister of Menstruation that not all women menstruate, and not all people who menstruate are women. And I think you can, sort of put one and one together, that people who do menstruate and don't identify as women can still menstruate, and people who are trans also menstruate as well. Really interesting was that because women should not be disadvantaged by physiological condition, and I totally agree. When we look at society in general and just how, in particular, our young girls are staying at home and are not being able to go to school, that is a major gender inequality issue. That is a human rights issue because of their period. Well, we need to make sure that in particular, young girls have access to sanitary products, and most importantly, have access to good cleaning facilities to manage their periods. And then for our working menstruators out there, we should also be petitioning to have menstrual leave, because our periods can be very painful. It is not, it's bigger than just menstruating for 7 days. Our periods affect us socially and economically, people. Get with it. Our periods should matter because there are stigmas about women's menstruation that are not true. And I'm sure we've all heard the craziest things, that if you're on your period and you start cooking, the food will get rotten. If you're on your period, you can't go to the church. If you're on your period, you just, you can't do certain things, which is not true. And we as young menstruators in particular need to ensure that we equip ourselves with scientific fact to demystify these period myths. And favorite one of all the responses was, it's a reminder to never trust anyone, not even my own damn body. Shaking my head. Girl. Period cramps? That's all I've got to say. And every month, for the majority of their lives, yet millions of women don't have access to sanitary products, and that is exactly why periods should matter. Like, do normal activities without our period affecting us. Period. Matter. Why shouldn't they? They are part of health and well-being, and in fact, most of the time, people don't know this, but your periods can be a great indicator of your health. If you are consistently having a regular period around the same time of the month, it means, your vital organs are okay. But then it can also tell you that if you experience spotting, or if you experience severe pain, or at some point you're experiencing some form of different symptoms that are very severe and debilitating your everyday life activities, then you should probably see a doctor. It's so important to always be constantly in check with what's going down there, so that you can always say, hey, my body's telling me that something ain't right, so I must do the right thing and go to the doctor and make sure that everything will be right. You did? So if you're not convinced after these answers that periods matter, then we need to have a serious one-to-one conversation so that you can be down for the period movement. Bye.